All right, Jim. Well, let's talk a little bit about retro wrestling figures for a moment.
Uh-oh.
I have a few different things here. Let me speak up. I'm getting away from the mic. I have a variety of things.
It's like the old request. Can you sing Far, Far Away?
From the... I'm trying to see exactly who made this, because I thought it was one. I'll come back to this one in a moment. From Epic Toys, I have the Blue Meanie action figure in the Hasbro WWF style. What do you believe his finishing maneuver would be named?
Wait, now, hold on. I'm trying to reflect back, if I can, on the Blue Meanie's career. I don't remember him ever winning.
Well, he won matches. I wouldn't...
Did he win?
Of course he won matches.
Then what did he use for a finish?
I can't tell you that. I think that may in some way trigger an answer that wouldn't be genuine.
Well, in that case, I'm going to say his finish is the Blue Cyclone.
Ah, good guess there. His finishing maneuver, Meanie Salt Madness. Meanie Salt Madness. He's also known as the Blue Guy, and he finishes his opponent with the Meanie Salt, it says. Well, they call it Meanie Salt Madness on the front, but... And he's from Pepperland, naturally. All right, well, from the same line of toys, but it says here it's from Figure Collections. So now I don't even know exactly who to give credit to.
Who to blame?
Yeah, well, this one is a Gangrel figure. Gangrel, David Heath, with a little glass of blood. I was going to say red wine. A little glass of blood. Wouldn't be red wine. What would his finishing maneuver be? Gangrel.
Well, because the whole brood, they were vampires, and he drinks the blood. But the finishing maneuver could either be the bite or could it be the impaler? No, that was what Edge did. How about the neck grip or the neck bite?
It's like the other day when you said it can't be Memphis, and it was Memphis. Oh. The finishing move, the impaler.
But I thought that actually is something that Edge called one of his moves, right?
On the back it says, since 1987, Gangrel has been brooding in the shadows of the wrestling world, keeping his opponents on edge with one of the most deadly DDTs in wrestling. There it is, the Gangrel figure. I also have here, I have a few of these. I wanted to get your opinion on these descriptions. This is from the WWE Mattel Greatest Hits figure line. They put out some figures of some of the wrestling legends. I have one here for the British Bulldog. What do you think of this description? British Bulldog had a long and storied career with the Hart family. He began his career as a student of Stu Hart and trained in the legendary Hart Dungeon. He battled Bret the Hitman Hart in the legendary SummerSlam 1992 main event until eventually uniting with his family in 1997 as part of the Hart Foundation faction. And obviously they got the year wrong the first time because 97 is a sticker on top of whatever year they had there. What do you think? Is that an okay description for a Hart Foundation era British Bulldog?
Well, almost none of that is true.
He wasn't trained to wrestle by Stu Hart?
He didn't begin his career with Stu. He was wrestling in England as young David.
That's right.
Before he ever came to Calgary and further trained with Stu, but he didn't start there. And what else did they say?
I'm grabbing it here again. He began his career as a student of Stu Hart and trained in the legendary Hart Dungeon. Battled Bret in the main event of SummerSlam 92, eventually uniting with his family.
Skipping over the previous 10 years of his career that he'd spent in Calgary, much of which was on the same side of the Hart family, wasn't it? Until he switched heel.
Not according to Mattel.
Well, I think we need to call Mr. Mattel and have him come in here and explain some of this shit.
Well, let me find out what you think of this next one.
And regardless of what the sticker was covering up, see, they're trying to cover up further indiscretions.
Well, maybe there's some kind of cover-up. Jim, the next figure I have here
Maybe it was Thinking they covered up.
Jerry Thinking Lawler, still the greatest one ever. Well, Jim, the next one here, I have Greg the Hammer Valentine, but this is Rhythm and Blues era Greg Valentine with the black hair and the guitar. What do you think of this description? Greg the Hammer Valentine spent much of his career as a loner. But in 1988, and that's wrong, he dyed his trademark blonde hair to jet black, picked up a guitar, and formed the tag team Rhythm and Blues alongside the Honky Tonk Man. The duo celebrated at WrestleMania 6, where they pulled up in a pink Cadillac and delighted the fans with their song, Hunka Hunka Honky Love. Some of that's true.
A little bit more. Poor Greg Valentine, that had to be a rib on him, right? Because the exact opposite of anything that Greg ever would do as a person or would ever do as a professional wrestler, all in the same package. The dyed hair, the hokey, it had to be another rib on a guy who they thought had no personality. Because Greg had been hailed as one of the great in-ring performers in the business at that point in time. He had not actually been a loner that whole time. He and Flair for about 2 years were the top heel team in the Carolinas, made a fucking fortune. But I digress.
Well, this was at a period of time where WWE, WWF at the time, started phasing out wrestlers with just names. You know, everyone became their gimmick. Greg Valentine was a holdout still. He was still just Greg the Hammer Valentine. This gave him some WWE pizzazz.
This gave him a honky.
Well, finally, here for the greatest hit series from Mattel, I have the Ultimate Warrior, 1991 edition. What do you think of this description, Jim? At Royal Rumble 1991 for the WWE Championship, Sergeant Slaughter searched through infrared for his lost soldiers. But Ultimate Warrior stood in his own silence. Surrounded by his warriors, Ultimate Warrior walked not as a lieutenant, but as a sergeant. Oh, not as a sergeant, excuse me, but as a 5-star general of the Warriors, in caps. What do you think?
Is this one of those fucking Google translations from another language?
Did he write this from the afterlife?
It sounds like the Warrior speaking, but it doesn't sound like a description of anything that ever happened with the Warrior. But that's why, is it made in China and they put it in, okay, translate this in English, and that's what we get?
Let me remind you, Royal Rumble 91, the Ultimate Warrior lost the title to Sergeant Slaughter when Macho Man Savage hit him over the head with the golden scepter. According to Mattel, Sergeant Slaughter searched through infrared for lost soldiers, but Ultimate Warrior stood in his own silence.
Well, I guess that's better than sitting in your own feces, but...
I guess so. Well, Jim, let me ask you about two more things here. I got the brand new Zombie Sailor Blackstrap Andre the Giant figure. This is absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. They did a blue strap-on.
I didn't even know they did it, an Andre the Giant black strap-on.
Not strap-on, a black strap, the black unitard, or whatever he wore in the ring.
Oh, the shoulder strap.
That's right.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Now I'm with you.
On that topic, they previously did a blue one, because that's what he wore at the end of his WWF run. What did you think when Andre turned heel that is what his outfit became? And it's kind of become the iconic Andre look, funny enough. Like a lot of the merch you see is heel Andre, not babyface Andre, who was a massive babyface for years. What do you think about that, and what did you think about the look when he turned heel?
Well, the iconic Andre look to me, babyface-wise especially, is always going to be the buckskin fringe vest. I mean, the 1973 special. I mean, he wore that everywhere. You needed, first of all, black trunks were worn a lot in the old days by babyfaces, heels or whatever, but a more black outfit, like Andre suddenly he wore blue trunks, he wore red trunks. Suddenly he's not only in black, but he's got the singlet. There's more of him covered up with the black. That says heel subliminally, especially in the old days when, things like that mattered. And also, let's face it, at that point, Andre's physique was deteriorating, and it kind of, if you see any of the pictures, there are a few of that point in time where he was in some kind of topless outfit. It wasn't a pleasing look, and it wasn't doing justice to his monumental stature, so it kind of kept him in a little bit there. It's like when when Eddie Kingston drops his shoulder straps and he goes from kind of badass looking street fighter to, a fucking homeless bum that's pregnant 10 months with a watermelon.
All right, well, I knew we would knock someone during this segment, and there's the Eddie Kingston knock. Jim,
but it was Andre was going in the same direction, but that kept it in a little better.
Our final wrestling toy we're going to talk about, this is magnificent in its crappiness. It's not necessarily retro. I got it on Amazon. It is, I'm going to read you exactly what it says on the box. This is the front of the box. There are 4 figures here. Clearly...
Wait a minute, 4 figures? It's not the Midnight Express set, is it?
Absolutely not. This is a bootleg Batista, a bootleg John Cena, a bootleg Sheamus, and a bootleg Rock. You could tell who it is because of the tattoo on the Rock. With some equipment, including a steel chair, a stepladder, a barbell, and a chainsaw. Oh, as well as a crutch. The name of this is GR. GR, by the way, is in the WWE Attitude Era design. GR Flex Force Ultimate Warrior Power.
What?
It says here, this is a first grade product. Be filled with the tournament stage of intense emotion. Fighting hero, and then at the bottom it says, toy model of a virtual reality. And then if you turn it around to the other side is a picture of the Rock. It says, come on, try me, play with me. I will give you infinite happiness.
Wait a minute. Now, I've heard that line before, but it wasn't from the Rock. It was from this quaint little lady at a massage place over in Fresno.
Fresno?
Well, I was passing through. Didn't know anybody personally.
What are your thoughts in general about knockoff toys or bootleg toys? And
well, now that's the English translation that I was talking about a little while ago. Like when I read you that box of instructions on my carpet grippers from China here a week or two ago. And it makes sense to them because they think that the words that they uttered or wrote or whatever were translated verbatim, but as we now know that these languages have their differences. The question is this China? Is this where Vietnam? Where do they go to do knockoffs that are under the radar to that extent? They can do a box set of Batista, Sheamus, Rock, and...
You say under the radar. It was on Amazon, made in China. Made in China. GR Flex Force Ultimate Warrior Power Fighting Hero. Once again, first grade product.
Well, now, does that mean is that their way of saying it's a first class item, or does that mean that it's limited to first graders?
Or is it a first rate product? I don't know. And in the picture on here, they have a bootleg Chris Jericho, a bootleg Rey Mysterio, a bootleg Kevin Nash. And I can't tell who else is there. Someone's swinging. Oh, that's a bootleg Kane swinging the chainsaw.
Kane was noted for his chainsaw action.
It's on Amazon if you like bootlegs. The Ultimate Warrior Power Flex Force. Once again, be filled with the tournament stage of intense emotion.
You know what? I think one of them ought to call Stephen P. New and have Stephen shut Amazon down. Do the whole world a favor.
That may happen. But Jim, before we finish up things here, I want to tell everyone, you can call Stephen P. New, or you could listen to some great tunes. You can listen to your favorite podcasts. I think you could do it all with Raycon.
Well, you certainly could, because Raycon does everything now. Have you heard about this? Have you read about this? Not only are they doing the everyday earbuds, we've been praising them for, years now. And I mean, people, whether it was say what you want, if you're listening to voices in your own head, the easiest, the least expensive, and the safest way to do it is on the everyday earbuds. But now they've expanded the entire business. They got Raycon Power Tech. They got Raycon Home. They're coming into your homes, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, they're filtering your water because the new Raycon Home faucet filter removes 99.9% of all the contaminants, bacteria, chemicals, DNA, and other space-age microbes that are infecting you on a daily basis every time you take a drink of water or use ice cubes. So you got to get this filter. The 0.1% of shit that it doesn't get out you're stuck with. There's no way around that. That's what causes the big trouble. But nevertheless, they've also, over at Raycon PowerTech, they've got the Magic 180 charging cable, hyper-speed charging to the IOs and the micro USBs and the Type-C devices. And as we mentioned, it rotates 180 degrees. Just like Linda Blair's head in The Exorcist, it'll start one way and it'll turn all the way around. Well, is that 180 or is that 360? Or is 360 two 180s? If you do a 180, do you go all the way around or you just go opposite the way you started at?
Two 180s is a 360.
Well, in that case, this thing will turn halfway around. It rotates 180 degrees. Now, a lot of times, this is what you need when people tell you to sit on something and spin. Well, you've got this thing that'll turn 180 degrees. That means you're halfway there. It's built for durability. So when you turn this sumbitch sideways and shove it up your candy ass, it's not going to fuck it up. And Raycon is known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features at half the price of other premium tech brands because they care. They care about people at Raycon. That's why they have thoughtful features. People have thought about them and come to the conclusion they will not hurt your feelings. And right now, speaking of hurt feelings, you are not going to get your feelings hurt with the amount of money that you're going to save because right now, 15% off your entire Raycon order when you go to buyraycon, BUYRAYCON.com/JCE. You're going to get 15% off the charging cable that keeps turning back and forth. We don't know which way it's facing. The faucet filter that's going to remove all the pig urine out of your city water system. The everyday earbuds that's going to give you an easy soundtrack to your life to listen to while you can tune in anything on these things. Sometimes the wires get crossed and you pick up NORAD signals. Nothing to be worried about, just don't take anything too seriously. But right now, go to buyraycon.com/JCE, 15% off the entire order. Anything on the site, perfect for last-minute gifts or ringing in the new year. Or, once again, getting the goddamn feces out of your kitchen sink water. buyraycon.com/JCE.